Greetings and salutations to you beautiful people. I'm talking about you, Scott. You too, Martin. So I recently finished the book called Rites of Passage by William Golding. Listen, I know I'm a stupid guy. I look stupid. Yo, I am stupid. See, if you're using words such as doldrums and hindrance, you're setting people up like me for failure. I had to download a text-to-speech app just to read the book. Come on, William! Getting too hyped. Hold me. I couldn't even read a book without a dictionary and a translator. Don't forget about the thesaurus. So the book takes place on a British warship going from Britain to Australia. The story is told through Edmund Talbot's perspective. It's basically a journal about his journey on the ship, talking about him going up the social class of the boat. So the boat is basically split up into two different sections, one for the poor and one for the rich. So in the journal, he talks about people he meets, such as Mr. Colley and Captain Anderson and other shipmen. So the whole story is basically building up to the point where Mr. Colley dies. Spoiler alert!
Shut up!
Mr. Colley is a pastor who dies from drinking and humiliation. So Mr. Talbot finds Mr. Colley's letters that he's been writing to his sister. He reads the letters and finds out that Mr. Colley has been mistreated throughout the whole duration of the trip. After his death, a funeral service was provided by tying 2 cannonballs onto his legs and throwing him in the water. This just goes to show that life isn't all about unicorns, rainbows, and flowers. The major theme of this story is controversy will result in savagery. This is because Mr. Colley is a pastor and he is not supposed to drink. However, he still drinks because of the influence of other people. So this results into uncontrolled actions that led to his death. So to answer the question, does this text have value? It does have value because it shows the audience that life isn't always about sunshine, rainbows, and flowers. It also shows the audience that you should always act like a gentleman. You don't know anyone else's story, and they don't know yours. After reading this book, I didn't really like it, you know? It just wasn't for me. Like I said before, I'm a stupid guy, and I know it. And it took a lot of perseverance for me to finish the book. But the ending was really bad. Ow! Listen, although Mr. Colley died and we got his part of the story, we still didn't really connect to him as much as we did to Mr. Talbot. This just ruined the emotional appeal for the audience. I feel that if Mr. Colley and Mr. Talbot had a stronger connection, then that would have made his death a little bit more dramatic. Also, honestly, I think that there's too many characters that are mentioned in the book. We got Zenobia, Mrs. Granham, Mr. Granham, Billy Rogers, Mrs. Brocklebank, Mr. Brocklebank, and many other characters. I feel like these characters didn't really help with the advancement of the plot as they were just side characters. They didn't reveal much about themselves or other characters. These additional characters made it a little bit confusing for me to read it because honestly there was a lot of information to take in and I wasn't really sure what information was useful. I believe that if the author provided less names and focused more on the main characters like Mr. Colley and Mr. Talbot, the audience would have had a stronger connection and attraction with the characters. Looking at the book through a Marxist lens, we can definitely see that the rich become richer and the poor become more poor. This is because Captain Anderson made rules for the ship in favor of the rich people. The rich side of the boat would prosper and it would get the best service and better quality meals, whereas the poor side would get worse treatment and smaller rooms. So to conclude, honestly, I didn't really like the book. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I love how it was a journal style book, but I didn't really like how they used different languages. The fact that the book was a journal was great. The fact that you get insights on Mr. Colley was also great. But I feel like it took way too long to get to the point. So that was my book review rant, and I hope you enjoyed it.